Okay, class, we are back again. So now we are going to talk about the legalizing of apartheid. Okay, fine. What is apartheid? What is apartheid? Yes, Linda, what is apartheid? Okay, thank you. Apartheid is an Afrikaner word that means apart. That means apartness or being apart. Let us move forward now that you know what is apartheid. National Party came into power in 1948. And when they came into power, they legalized apartheid. Okay. What did legalizing of apartheid meant for the citizens of South Africa? It meant that races should be separated as far as possible, of which means that you are going to live with the people of your race. When you're black, you're going to be living with the black community, as well as whites are going to live with the white community. They were not only going to be separated with the places where they live, they were going to be separated socially, politically, economically, and geographically. When I say economically, I mean that they were going to be separated on how they earn, what kind of jobs they get, that gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, still on the economical part. Being separated economically meant that the white people were going to be the CEOs of the company, the managers of the restaurants, all those top jobs that have got high wages and salaries. Then the Indians and the coloreds were even better than the whites because they can get those better jobs that are paying better than those of the whites, even though they don't get paid as much as the whites do, but they won't be paid as little as the blacks are paid. Then the blacks are going to be securities and cleaners, and then earn a very low wages. Okay, fine. They were still gonna be separated geographically, of which means that those farms, those rural areas that don't have running water, that do not have electricity, that do not have railways, that do not have all those facilities that are needed, were going to be used by the blacks. And then the whites are going to live on those suburbs, those most expensive suburbs, Sandton, Ballito, Mhlanga, Lalusha, because they are known as being superior. Okay. As I have said, that apartheid also meant that white people are superior. Since apartheid is now legalized, of which means it is legally, it is in the system that white people are superior. Okay, now, since it seems like segregation and apartheid are more like similar, okay, now I am going to explain the difference between segregation and apartheid. Or should I say, how is apartheid different from segregation? Since we have talked about segregation, you all know what is segregation. I said segregation is the systematic separation of people according to their ethnic groups. Okay, now, how is apartheid different from segregation? Any form of equality between blacks and whites was unacceptable, of which means that if in any way blacks and whites were treated in the same way, of which that was unacceptable. There was no way that blacks and white people were going to be treated the same, because then it was legalized that white people are superior than white. That is why they should occupy high positions at work, high wages, they're going to be living in the suburbs, while whites are living in villages that is no water and no electricity. The migrant labor system should continue. In the parliament, the system of having white representative of black people should be abolished. Colored people should vote separately from the whites. Indian people should return to India. These are some of the laws that were installed while when the National Party came into power. That since the races are different, you cannot vote. A black person cannot vote with a white person. A white person cannot vote with a Indian people. Even though this part of voting, not everyone voted. Since you all know that the black people only started voting in 1994, 27 April. All these years, people who were voting were the white people and also those coloreds, of which even though they voted, even though colors voted, but they were not allowed to vote in the same stations as whites, because whites are superior, while colors are not completely white. So they were treated a little bit lower than whites. Not talking about the Indians. The Indians were supposed to go back to India. Then blacks are living in the village, they don't even know what is a vote. They don't even know what is a ballot paper because they were not allowed to have political freedom, Yeah, okay, fine. So now we're going to talk about why did the National Party legalize apartheid? What is it that they were aiming to gain by legalizing apartheid? Okay, fine. The reason why National Party legalized apartheid was because the Afrikaners seriously opposed the United Party and Prime Minister Jan Smuts' decision to enter the World War II. It says here the Afrikaners were against the idea of getting into World War II. And then the National Party saw that no, we cannot hear from the Afrikaners because the Afrikaners, yes, they are white, but they are not completely white. Then the government saw that no, we should install laws that are going to be followed so that when I instill a law that says that what I say goes, no one should go against me. If you do go against that law, then you're going to be arrested or killed. Because back then, black people were killed like ants. They actually did not have a problem with killing a black people because they think black people have no use in the world. They are dumb and all that. During the World War, living costs in South Africa rose sharply and the wages of white people fell, whilst those of black workers rose. White workers felt threatened by mechanism and by large numbers of black workers who entered industry during the 1940s. It says that during the World War I, since when National Party came into power in 1948, it was a period between World War I and World War II. It was before World War II and after World War I, that gap between World War I and World War II. Of which means it says that white people were threatened because most of the black people got jobs, they were paid, while the white people's wages went down. Okay, let us get into who are those people who kept on voting for the National Party? Because we all know the National Party was bad for the other races except for the whites. Then who are those people who kept on voting for the National Party? Okay, the people who voted for the National Party were those small-scale white traders who did not want to compete with other traders, such as small-scale Indian traders. The people who voted are those white people who wanted Indians to be. Since they knew that while National Party come into power, Indians are going to be forced to go back to India, then they wanted to vote They wanted to make sure that National Party get into power so that they will have not to compete. They will have not to compete with the Indians. They will have no competition. They will just do their small scale farming, commercial farming, get profits without anyone interrupting them with their competition. The white businessmen, mining magnates, and commercial farmers who needed a source of cheap labor on mines, farms, and factories are also people who kept rooting for National Party to come into power in 1948. Okay, now, how was the apartheid state created? Immediately after coming into power in 1948, National Party came into power in 1948. The National Party started making new laws and amendment existing segregation laws to implement apartheid. These laws formed the foundation of which the apartheid state was created. The most important law was passed between 1949 and 1960. Okay, fine. It says here, immediately after coming into power, what did they do? They instilled laws, segregation laws that separated black people from the white, that made sure that white people are always on the top. Good people, I do not know why those Indians and black people and colors were treated as nothing, but it is what it is. Okay, fine. Anyone's got a question, you can ask anything according to what we have learned, or you can add anything if you want to add anything. I am giving you a chance. Thank you very much, learners. Since you have no questions and you've got nothing to add, well, I have questions. I want to give you a little few questions that I want you to go home and answer. Please jot them down for me. I am even gonna print and photocopy them for you and give them to me, but now I'm just gonna read them aloud. The questions I want you to answer. Question 1 is that I want you to write a paragraph explaining who are the people who kept on voting for the National Party and what is it that they were aiming to achieve when the National Party came into power. The second question is that I want you to differentiate between the segregation and the apartheid for me. Since we've talked about it, I just want to see if you're still with me so that I will know if you understand this whole topic. Okay, the third question, of which is the last, I want you to tell me how was the apartheid laws gonna help the whites, since you all know that all the things that they were doing it to favor themselves, not the white Indians or colors. Those are the questions that I want you to answer. That is it for today. Thank you.